So I kind of like changed up the name a bunch of times, like I do. I feel like I always have a topic idea, and then like the way to word it doesn't really come to me until like I'm actually writing out the call. So I feel like a good title for this is creating a new identity for your new lifestyle. So that's kind of like the biggest thing that a lot of you guys come to me when you are first signing up for coaching, is saying that you want to, create new habits, you want to feel better, you want to feel different, you want to have a new routine. Basically, you want a whole new lifestyle. And of course, along the way, we want physical results. We want to lose body fat. We want to grow glutes. We want to tone our arms. We want the physical results. That was probably a motivating factor, but you don't actually click the application, submit the application, get on a call, sign up for a program unless it's something deep within you further than aesthetics. Okay, nobody wants to grow their glutes that bad to where they actually make these steps. We know that this is literally, what I do for my job is to study what makes people like motivated to actually do things, and it always comes down to a deeper level. And overall just wanting to like a new lifestyle. So, we hear these buzzwords like discipline, accountability, willpower, and we're going to kind of dive into what those mean. But the overarching thing is definitely going to be creating a new identity for your new lifestyle. So relying on willpower to make a change. I often hear people say, I just need more willpower, maybe to eat less processed foods, or if there's a package of Oreos, in the break room, you need more willpower to not finish the whole thing, or to drink less alcohol, or to show up to the gym. Willpower will get you nowhere without focusing on your environment. I would say just in general, willpower does not get you anywhere. It will only last so long until it turns into like a full-on binge. And yeah, so you're going to get more bang for your buck if you focus on your environment, which this is, what we do a really good job at here at Frequency, is focusing on helping you create these environments and these structures. So are you creating an environment to set yourself up for success or failure? Either it's going to go one way or the other. And if you haven't made any changes to your environments, we can basically guarantee that you're going to fall into old patterns. Have you taken the preliminary steps first? So the things that you need to do beforehand. I think a lot of people, again, focus on that moment when they're in the office and the Oreos are in the break room, or when they're on the couch and the Doritos are in the pantry. We need to take the steps first. Meal prepping, bringing snacks, maybe like if you're going on a plane, reading the menu beforehand if you're going to a restaurant, time blocking your daily schedule. That's a huge thing. I feel like this happens a lot with clients. It's okay, you're missing your workouts, you're not showing up, we're consistently missing your last day because you're pushing it off till Sunday. Look at your calendar. It's almost like when you don't want to look at your bank account because it's like, okay, if you don't look at it, it's kind of like you don't know sort of thing. Just freaking look at your calendar and plug in your workouts. It's really that simple. That's why it's a checklist on the check-in form to make sure that you schedule them ahead of time. Pre-logging your food, again, same thing. You're not hitting your macros. Are you pre-logging your food, or are you just closing your eyes and hoping that your bank account says $1 million and that when you swipe your card it actually didn't go through or whatever? Okay, same thing. So making sure that you're taking the preliminary steps beforehand and creating an environment for success. Are you putting yourself in environments with people, places, events that are not aligned with where you want to go? Are you hanging out with the same people that maybe when you got on, the first call with me and you said like, I want to make a change. I want to have healthier weekends. I want to have a better lifestyle. I want to feel happy on Mondays instead of constantly hungover and drained. Or are you still showing up to those same places, the same events with the same people? Okay, so focusing on those things over willpower is going to be way more beneficial, way more bang for your buck. All right, now let's really dive deep here. So we're going to talk about identity over discipline. And again, I think discipline is this big buzzword that if we're focusing so much on how do I get disciplined? How do I get motivated? It's like you're focusing on this barrier in between like you and where you want to be. Instead of focusing on where you want to be, you're creating this like made up imaginary thing, discipline, motivation. Skip over that part. It's not getting you anywhere. Try to focus on how to actually get to the thing you want. This was about basically the reel that I posted the other day. And yeah, so this is really going to kind of dive deep into the whole identity thing. So you think you need discipline, but what you really need to do is focus on your identity. Who are you? Who do you believe to your core that you are? We always act in accordance with our identity. So if you genuinely believe that you are X, you will always act in accordance to that. If you believe you're a Christian, you're going to act like a Christian. If you believe you're a good person, you're going to act like a good person. If you believe that you're a bad person, if you believe that you are somebody who can't control themselves around cookies, you're going to act like that. If you believe you're somebody who hates going to the gym, you're going to act like that. Okay. If we want our life to shift, we must first shift internally. Again, focusing too much on the external things, and not focusing on your internal, who you believe that you are. This is why at Frequency Fitness, we focus on giving you journal prompts, mindfulness practices, affirmations. It's not because we think it's cute and quirky and fun, but it's because this is actually how you're going to get results in the first place, and then get results that last for the rest of your life. Self-image is either your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. Again, if who you believe you are is who you are, is who you will be. So if your self-image is you're constantly beating yourself up, you're constantly critiquing yourself in the mirror, you can give everybody compliments all day long, you're everybody's biggest supporter, and then in your own mind, you are your biggest critic, you are absolutely never doing good enough, you never look good enough, you absolutely hate your legs constantly, you're the dumbest person in the room, then it's all true. So your self-image completely dictates everything. And you have the control if you want it to be your greatest ally by truly being your biggest supporter, your biggest believer, knowing that you can show up for yourself, knowing that you can trust yourself to be healthy, to take care of your body, knowing that you can be trusted to nourish yourself, just like to take care of a dog or a kid. Can you be trusted to take care of this thing? So your self-image will either be your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. If you keep falling back into the same spot every time you try to make an effort to change and lose weight, maybe you've signed up for a million different coaching programs, you've done keto, you've done vegan, you've done intermittent fasting, or whatever it is, or even just maybe throughout the program, you've gained and you've lost, you've gained and you've lost, you've gained and you've lost. If this is constantly happening, we know that you have an underlying belief that you are not worthy of truly achieving the result. And maybe some of you guys have had that hard conversation or that hard check-in with me where I kind of have to stop and say that, or sometimes I'll say it on our first call. Do you believe that you can make this change? You say you want this, but sometimes we can hear it in your voice or we can see it in your check-ins. Is this actually something that you can see for yourself? Because if you can't see it for yourself, if you don't believe, it does not matter the protocol you get, the amazing coach you get. We could guarantee you will always end up in the same spot again. The reason why you have that belief of not being worthy of truly achieving whatever it is that you want at all, whether that's a relationship, a career, just happiness in general, contentment, fitness, whatever. This is because at some point when you were a little girl, someone made a comment about your weight, how much you were eating, what you looked like. Maybe I was in dance when, growing up from when I was like literally 4 years old to 18. All it was about was critiquing how your body looks, how it's moving, how tall you are, what your toes are doing. We're staring at ourselves in the mirror, literally 8 hours a day for 10 years. Maybe same thing for girls who did cheerleading or gymnastics. Or this is a big one too, that I can really resonate with. And I know a lot of you guys probably can as well. Maybe you don't remember being told these things, maybe in school, or even just like that, that idiot bully boy who probably is like a surfer now or whatever in school that probably made comments about your weight or your belly is poking through or whatever it is. So maybe if those comments weren't directly made towards you, maybe your mom said things about this about herself in front of you. Maybe you grew up your whole life watching your mom, hate the way her hair looked in the mirror, constantly wanting to be on a diet. She never was eating dinner, or she, was always talking about how the dessert was what made her love handle so huge, or whatever it is. So that's a big thing to really consider too, is, what did you witness from your mom saying about herself? Because that's half of you. And you knew that as a kid. You knew that you came from your mom. And if she didn't love herself and there was something wrong with her body, you were going to take that on as your own issues. So whatever it is, You may not remember the details, but you damn sure remember the feeling. And at some point, so an identity or a label got slapped onto you and you are still wearing it. So again, maybe from one of those situations, you took on something. Okay, well, this is who I am. This is what's wrong with me. I am X, I am Y. And these things can last on us for a lifetime. And we don't just accidentally figure out, oh, wow, I've been holding on to this identity. Oh, wow, this label got slapped onto me and I'm still, identifying with it, or it's, in my belief system. We have to actually do the work and do something about it. And journaling is literally I would say probably the only way. Maybe if you get it really into like a deep meditation, maybe on some mushrooms or something, that could be really beneficial. But journaling is a super, super potent way to do that. So the protocol is important, right? That's what I'm providing to you as a coach. Your macros, your daily habits, your workout program, making sure that we're progressively overloading, of course. However, if you do not change that underlying belief, all of these healthy habits that you're trying to build will keep bringing you back to ground zero. And maybe you witness that in the program, or again, you've been on this constant yo-yo cycle and you don't understand why nothing can stick. Highly would recommend diving into these beliefs. And this is not rare. I can probably guarantee it. I would say probably every single person on this call, if you journaled something, you will find whatever that identity is or that belief is that you've been holding on to. We all have it because we all have life experiences. We all were kids who were constantly absorbing everything that was told to us like a sponge. So let's get into it. How do you change that belief? Write a letter to yourself, maybe your 5-year-old self, your 10-year-old self, your 15-year-old self. Write a letter to her. I would first close your eyes and picture her, standing in front of you. What did her hair look like? What kind of clothes was she wearing? What phase was her body in? What were her insecurities? What was she thinking about? Really take a moment to sit and envision who it is that you're talking to, where she is, maybe what house you were living in at that moment, who her friends were, whatever. Take a moment to really settle into that version of you that, is still fully here with us today, and tell her that she is worthy. And I want you to envision your current self as a full functioning adult, a full healthy adult, giving her a hug and telling her that she is worthy. You can write this in, to the letter to her, telling her how beautiful she is, that she is more than enough. She doesn't need to change a thing. She doesn't need to prove anything, and that she is completely forgiven. She's good, whatever it is that that she needs to hear. Write all that down. And healing the past will change your future. Seriously. And then write an updated autobiography about who you are. And this is really just affirmations. So if you want to write it in the style of an autobiography, we're just writing about, who you are. If you had to write a letter, maybe to a job or something, or your next partner, of who you are, what's the lifestyle you live, how do you show up for yourself, and write these words intentionally of who you are creating yourself to be with this new healed identity, with the version of the adult that, the little girl that you're writing to, who she wanted and was expecting and hoping to grow into. You need to become the person you want to be rather than focusing on being disciplined. Do you feel how that will completely shift? Maybe you are somebody who just is disciplined. That's going to get you so much further than trying to get disciplined or be disciplined or whatever it is. You'll just keep falling back into the same patterns until we find out what is running the show. What is the belief that is self-sabotaging? That's what all of this is at the end of the day. And next slide, accountability. This is the best part of having a coach. Accountability. And again, this is another buzzword that gets thrown around, but let's really dive deep into what this is and how it benefits you. It is the engine behind success. We can have all the best intentions and goals in the world, right? We've all probably written down a million different New Year's resolutions or things we wanted to do and set this new schedule or whatever it is. and then that piece of paper just gets like, left under your pillow, or it's collecting dust, or you threw it away and whatever. Accountability is where that shit actually gets done. So the human brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Maybe you guys remember hearing that in, psychology class, but that's literally what we're constantly doing, is seeking pleasure or avoiding pain. Having somebody to show up for, having somebody that's expecting something of you, somebody to check in with, and knowing that there's a community of people that are on your team that are, waiting to hear from you or know that you are part of this community, this will naturally make you avoid letting them down. It's avoiding the pain of not showing up for a check-in, or avoiding a really tough kind of awkward conversation with a check-in. We just naturally will do that as humans. So this is a huge aspect of accountability. You're also more likely to find a solution to any challenges or any hard things that come up when you have someone else to discuss it with. So maybe you notice that you're, rotting in bed all day on Wednesday. And if you know that you have your check-in with your coach on, Monday or whatever, knowing that, you'll naturally want to come up with a solution to the rotting in bed rather than not. Okay. Just knowing that you have somebody else to discuss it with. Also, the pain of not doing something, right? It's like, okay, I don't want to go just because I don't feel like it. Like, going to the gym right now, the sun is already set, it's super late, I'm tired, I could shower, maybe I could go tomorrow. All of these things, that the pain of going to the gym or whatever it is when you just don't fucking want to, is less than the pain of not showing up for your accountability partner or for your coach. So the pain of essentially having, and that's what our brain does, is not only avoid pain and seek pleasure, but if there's kind of two options, it's going to kind of do a vote, a poll of which one, would cause the greater pain. So having that option to add into avoiding pain of having a coach or a team or somebody to show up for, so beneficial